So today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful and really personal names for God, Jehovah-Jireh. We're going to try and move past it just being a concept and really see it for what it is, which is a lifeline. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? That crushing weight, the pressure to provide for everything, for everyone, financially, emotionally, spiritually. It can be absolutely overwhelming in our world today. It's like this constant, low-grade hum of anxiety in the background.
To really understand what this name means, we've got to leave our own worries behind for just a minute. We're going to travel way back in time to a pretty intense story that all takes place on a single mountain. It's a story about a man named Abraham.
So here's the setup. Abraham is given this absolutely unthinkable test, one that demands his greatest possible sacrifice. He just obediently goes. He journeys to the place God tells him to go, and that's where we find him, at the very climax of this whole thing, standing at the top, at the absolute breaking point of his faith. I mean, can you just imagine that moment? The air is completely still. Everything has led to this single final action. He had raised the knife. In his heart, there was no turning back.
And this, right here, this is the core of the whole story. He was fully surrendered. Every single ounce of his own strength, his own ability to fix things, his own resources, it was all gone. Completely exhausted, he had nothing left to bring to the table but his trust.
And it's only then, at that exact moment of complete surrender, that's when the provision shows up. You have to notice the timing here. The ram wasn't just, waiting at the bottom of the mountain like a backup plan. No, it appeared only when Abraham had truly, fully let go.
And in response to this incredible moment, Abraham actually names the place. So Abraham called that place, "The Lord will provide." It's a name that wasn't born out of some abstract idea, but out of the most intense, personal experience of his entire life. And that is Jehovah-Jireh. It means so much more than just the Lord who provides as a reaction. The deeper meaning here is just amazing. It means this is the God who has already seen your need and the answer to it long before you even take that first step up your own personal mountain of worry.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, God's provision isn't some prize we get for passing a test. It shows up at that very specific point where our trust is complete and our own strength has run out. It's found in that place of surrender, on what the Bible calls the mountain of the Lord.
Okay, wow, that's a powerful story. But what about us? How do we take this ancient name, Jehovah-Jireh, and bring it into our lives today? What on earth does it mean for our own mountains of financial stress, or career pressure, or family needs? Let's talk about how this actually translates into our daily actions.
When things get tight, when resources are scarce, we basically have two paths we can take. Our default setting, our human gut reaction, is almost always to panic and complain, right? But this story shows us a totally different way, to pray and to consecrate the situation, which basically means to set it apart and just hand it over to God.
And why is this so important? Because, look, if you're a parent or a leader, or really anyone who has people looking up to them, how you act when you're under pressure is a living, breathing sermon. It teaches those watching you so much more about who God is than any formal lesson ever could. They see if you really trust in Jehovah-Jireh.
So, that brings us to a really personal question. And I want you to just take a second and actually think about this. Where in your life are you relying on your own strength, your own plans, your own provision, more than you're trusting in God's?
So here's a really simple way to put this into practice. First, just identify that one area that's causing you the most pressure. Step 2, do exactly what Abraham did. Admit you've reached the end of your own resources. Admit you can't solve it by yourself. And then third, you consciously consecrate it. You just hand it over to God in prayer. And hey, if you need a place to start, this is a simple, powerful prayer you can use. Jehovah-Jireh, you see the need before I even speak it. Help me to model faith rather than fear. It's a prayer that's all about trust and setting your intention.
And I want to leave you with this one final thought to carry with you. After everything we've talked about today, what would it actually practically look like for you to fully surrender that one area to Jehovah-Jireh? What would have to change in your thinking and in your actions starting right now?